In my junior year of high school, I had this god-awful English teacher. She would yell at us over the smallest mistakes, and somehow managed to turn English into an objective subject, as if there was always one correct interpretation and everyone else was simply wrong. On the first day back after summer break, I remember vividly we were discussing the novel we had been assigned over the summer, and the conversation turned towards the main character. The teacher asked what emotional state defines her throughout the story. And one of my classmates raised her hand and said, she's lonely. And I remembered thinking, yeah, she is lonely. Throughout the novel, she didn't really align with others and was always by herself. But my teacher immediately shut it down. No, she's not lonely. And then for the next 30 minutes, the class threw out guess after guess after guess, trying to figure out the answer she was looking for. Eventually, I raised my hand, mostly as a joke, and I asked, did the character feel alone? She stopped, and then she smiled and said, finally, someone competent in this room. And I remember sitting there completely confused. And I was thinking, aren't alone and lonely the same thing? But now I'm realizing, years after the fact, that they aren't. In fact, confusing those two words might be the reason so many people are afraid of spending time by themselves. Loneliness is the feeling that something is missing. Solitude, or being alone, is the realization that nothing is. And I think being alone is one of the most freeing feelings there can be. I grew up always wanting to be with someone else. I hated being by myself and would always seek to find the companion of someone else. Now, growing up kind of on the uglier side made this extremely difficult, but I still had a couple of friends and people who I was able to have fun with. One thing I really wanted, though, was a girlfriend. I thought I would be my happiest if I had a woman to share my time with. So during my first semester of college, I was just trying to find someone to cure my loneliness. Now, this was obviously just me setting extremely high expectations for myself. Also, this was me focusing on the wrong thing. Sure, it's fine to have a girlfriend, but I genuinely had other things that were more worth my time, especially during my first semester at college. Even so, I was still able to find someone. She lived on the same floor as me in our dorm building, so we were right next to each other. I thought it would be perfect. She was literally 30 seconds away from me, and her roommates were old friends of mine, so we met very naturally. I took her out on dates, got her flowers every time, made sure she was always comfortable, and told myself that this would last forever. She even told me herself that I was perfect for her. But, as you can probably imagine by me telling you this story, it didn't go well. She started going silent on me all of a sudden. I kept telling myself that I was just imagining it and nothing was wrong. I even asked my friends and explained my situation, and they also agreed with me. But, to my avail, on one Saturday afternoon while I was studying for my chemistry exam, I was sent a picture of her with another guy. This destroyed me. I remember being so pitiful I was considering just talking to her to take her back. I did this because she was a cure to my loneliness, a cure to my boredom. And I held her on a pedestal for that. I spoke with her and pretty much cried in front of her because I didn't want to be lonely again. After this long conversation with her, I realized that I needed to learn how to be content with myself. I needed to learn how to be alone. My problem was that I was so used to treating other people essentially like painkillers. When I felt bored, I would text someone. When I was anxious, I would try to hang out with others. Whenever I felt insecure, I would imagine myself having a better life dating someone. But this was difficult because I was rarely invited out to places or was able to schedule hangouts with my friends, constantly bombarded by excuses as to why they wouldn't show up. I wasn't building a life I enjoyed. I was constantly looking for someone else to distract me from a life I didn't. And when I made this realization, it's when I truly learned how to live in solitude. Not in a depressing way, but in a way that is beneficial. I stopped waiting for my gym partner to come to the gym with me. I stopped requiring the presence of others for my own satisfaction, and I stopped asking people to hang out with me. I was embracing solitude. I started waking up earlier to go to the gym. I started going on walks by myself. I started going to random events without friends. I started doing so many things by myself. I started eating by myself, went to coffee shops by myself, drove around by myself with no destination. And at first, it sucked. I was uncomfortable. Being by myself felt weird. After a couple months of this, I started realizing something. The silence stopped feeling empty. It started feeling peaceful. Instead of worrying about what everyone else thought of me, I finally had enough mental space to ask myself what I actually thought. I started saying no to things I clearly didn't want to go to. I picked up hobbies for my own satisfaction rather than the approval of others. I became more confident, and I realized that confidence isn't believing everyone likes you. It's knowing you'll be okay even if they don't. And this is when I realized no matter how shitty that English teacher was, no matter how many times she would yell at us, and no matter how many minutes were spent guessing an answer, she taught me one crucial thing. That being in solitude, being alone, and being lonely are two separate things. Loneliness is an emotion. It's the feeling that something important is missing. You can be surrounded by friends, sitting next to your partner, even married, and still feel lonely. But being alone is just a circumstance. It's sitting in a room by yourself, driving somewhere without company, eating lunch by yourself. Those things don't have to feel bad. In fact, they can become some of the best moments of your life. I think everyone should learn how to enjoy their own company, because once you do, you stop chasing people. You start choosing them. There's a huge difference. When you're comfortable alone, you look for people who compliment you. Ironically, I think becoming okay with being alone has made me better around other people, because I wasn't constantly trying to impress anyone anymore. I stopped overthinking everything, and I wasn't terrified of rejection, because rejection no longer meant I was going back to a life I hated. It just meant I was going back to myself, and I actually like spending time with myself. So if you're watching this because you feel lonely, I'm not going to tell you to stop wanting friends or stop wanting that relationship, because those are completely normal things. But don't make someone else responsible for giving your life meaning, because people leave, people change, relationships end, friends move away. And if your entire happiness depends entirely on other people, you're building a life on something you can't control. You know, the funny thing is, my English teacher was right. Lonely and alone aren't the same word. They're not even the same feeling. One is the fear that you're incomplete, and the other is the freedom, realizing you never were. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you were able to take something out of it. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.